So let's see, we're here with Greg Lee at the Panasonic exhibit. So Greg, tell us what's different about the VT50 series over the VT30.
All right, hopefully your customers aren't going to hate us, but it's completely new.
It is. That's good. Well, we hope for evolution.
Yeah, so it's, the exciting thing is we really stripped the panel down to nothing and said, all right, let's take the best of the best that we have now available to us and start all over again. So it is a new electrode structure. We're using a new ITO fishbone electrode and all the full HD sets, which is a little bit more efficient. It allows us to use a lighter spark, which should improve black levels. New
Adios.
phosphor formulation in the set this year. We're also using a variable
faster
pitch,
what?
A reformulated phosphor.
Right.
And we're also using a variable pitch on the subpixels this year, where the red, which is typically more efficient, is smaller. We make the blue and the green bigger, and that, along with changing the gas, we're changing the dielectric material in the set. I mean, everything is basically from the ground up has been repurposed and redone. So one of the key things is that we're expecting better panel performance, and even the drive system this year. We're not saying 600 hertz and the good stuff, and we'll talk about that in a second. That we definitely have modified all this stuff, but black levels are improved, efficiency is improved, and they're about 50% brighter than what they were last year. So everybody wants a brighter plasma. We're definitely delivering.
Fantastic.
But back to this drive system. Typically, if you're a tech head, you know that the plasma is energized in 10 different opportunities, which takes a long period of time within each frame of video. What Panasonic has created is an original drive system. And think about it this way, when you go to shoot a photo, if I use a slow shutter speed and there's a lot of fast motion, click, I get a blur because it wasn't fast enough to capture the motion. If I speed it up to 2/2500ths of a second shutter speed, that capture is going to be much faster. Even if the animal's flying through it looks like it's caught in motion, you can see every hair, every spot, every detail. Well,
so there's more than 600 subfields?
No. You still are driving it with 600 hertz, but the actual subbuilds themselves, instead of being driven in different time segments over a period of time, we can make actually all of the subfields activate within 0.4 milliseconds. So if a frame of video is 16.7 milliseconds, and we're doing it in 0.4 milliseconds or less, that means that it's 1/2500th of a second is the drive impulse. So it gives that high shutter speed capability where we're going to have sharp, detailed, very clear motion on these TVs, even better than last year.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And what's different about the video processing circuit? We had a good upgrade last year to a single chip.
Right.
Is it a single chip again? Or is it
Panasonic has been using a technology called Unifier. It's our own in-house chipset that we've built.
Right.
We were the first company to build a dual core. I think it was on a 35 nanometer die process before even Intel did. So we now upgrade that up to a newer generation. It's like dual core, if I remember correctly.
Fantastic.
But the key thing is it's supposed to be the world's fastest processor in the TV. That just means we have more time and more operations that we can control. On using the Unifier, you typically can get over like 15 billion pixel computations and operations per second. So that's like over 60 pixels worth of information being used to compare and generate 1 pixel of output.
So no more dim panels, we're brighter.
Yes, we are brighter.
How much brighter?
They're saying upwards of 50%.
So how many foot laments do you think it can put out before it'll clip?
50% more.
Okay, good. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Don't have the tech specs on a lot of this stuff yet.
So the ISF day mode would be pretty bright without clipping.
We would hope, yes.
Right.
And we definitely expect it to be better.
And it's also blacker.
It is blacker. A couple things that we're doing. We are using a new pre-ignition or the spark address system. So what used to be a small spark is even smaller. So if we have less energy release to activate the cell, that means that black level gets even deeper. We're showing a demo here with last year versus the new
Fantastic.
one. You walk in, you cover the bezel in the TV, and it's hard to see where the bezel and the screen start. So the indication it is much better than what we had last year, even though last year was very, very good.
Right. So what we're talking about is all on the VT50 series.
All in the VT series.
What's different about a GT50?
GT50 has pretty much all the same available options and upgrades from last year. It's still THX, the VT, of course, it still has the ISF complete calibration capability on it as well.
GT has ISF?
No. GT will not have ISF,
not,
but VT will have it. But one other thing that the GT and the VT do share, VT is considered the Ultra panel.
Right.
GT is considered the Infinite Black Pro panel. But they're also pulling over some of the technology that we've used previously in the Professional Series monitors. where instead of driving up to 6,144 gradations of, from black to white, we've quadrupled
Fantastic.
the steps. So we have a much more linear instead of less steps.
Fantastic.
So, it's like 24,576 gradations.
That's great. I read that.
Subtlety of color and such.
And that'll trickle down to the GT as well.
That trickles down to the GT.
But the panel is different, so it's not as bright, not as black?
No, both the panels should be brighter, but the Ultra and the VT, just like last year, was always our best black level capability panel.
Right.
Same will remain this year.
How about the new 8-speaker system? Is that going to be exclusive to the VT?
Actually, the 8-train speaker, as they're calling it, the real 3D sound, I believe drops down all the way to ST. So anything that's Neo panel with the Luger filter and the better technology will get the better speaker. And as everybody knows, the problem with a flat panel is that when you start compressing the space the speaker goes, you don't have much of a back chamber, so there's not a lot of good heavy response.
Most of the VT customers are using surround sound systems, and even going all the way down to the ST.
Yeah, but sometimes you don't want to go in there and turn the whole system on. It's just I want to catch the news real quick.
That's right.
I want to disturb everybody.
It's nice to have good audio built in.
So we are finding a way to get better audio in the set.
That's great.
And so that's one of the ways that we're doing it.
That's great. And I noticed this year the panel is 1.5 inches thick all the way up and down, so you don't have that bump out any longer because of the new speaker system.
They look small. They look thin.
That's great. They're 1.5 inches thick, aren't they?
I believe you're correct.
Yeah.